Once upon a time in a world where the sun's rays filtered through 1,000 dancing rainbows and painted the seabed with gold, there lived a little mermaid who didn't like water. It sounds crazy, right? You haven't heard all of it. Her name was Cora, a name as beautiful as the music of the sea. Yet she couldn't even stand the feeling of seawater on her scales. You see, while other mermaids frolicked around the coral reefs or chased each other through sparkling kelp forests, Cora stayed hidden in her grotto, painting pictures of life above the waves. She yearned to explore the world beyond the ocean, a world she knew only through the stories of sailors and her own vivid imagination. One day, curiosity got the better of her. Donning a human disguise, she swam up to the surface, intent on taking a peek at this mysterious world. As she surfaced, the salty water stung her eyes and made her gasp. The taste of the ocean filled her mouth, bitter and cold, and she hurried to dive back down. "That's enough," she muttered. "I'd rather stay in my grotto." Now, what's a mermaid to do when she doesn't enjoy the one thing her world has plenty of? You guessed it, water. Well, if you're Cora, you find ways to stay dry, which meant hiding in her grotto for months on end. Yet even that became tiresome. She started to wonder if there wasn't a place in the vast ocean where water wasn't so, well, wet. Then she heard of a legendary place called the Rain Shadow Isles, an archipelago untouched by rain or tides, a place where the ocean seemed to forget how to be wet. Intrigued, she decided to seek them out. With a determined flick of her tail, she set off across the ocean. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, high up in the mountains, there lived a boy who loved the rain. His name was Finian, and his days were spent exploring the lush forest and playing with the stream that trickled down the mountain. But his favorite thing was to sit on the edge of the tallest peak and watch the clouds roll by, dreaming of faraway lands. You see, Finian was a cloudwalker, a member of a small tribe who lived in harmony with nature and whose children could somehow communicate with the clouds. Now, you might think that sounds a bit odd, talking to clouds. I mean, well, it's not as strange as it seems. All you need is an open heart and a good imagination. The clouds were Finian's friends, and they whispered secrets to him as he drifted off to sleep, dreams of distant adventures filling his head. One day, the clouds told him of a strange drought on the other side of the world, a place where the ocean refused to touch the land, leaving the people thirsty and the crops withering away. Filled with concern, Finian decided to help. With the clouds as his guides, he set off on a journey to find the Rain Shadow Isles. As Cora swam through the endless blue, she felt a growing sadness. Not only was the water tasteless, it also seemed empty, devoid of the playful chatter of fish or the haunting song of whales. The vibrant colors of the coral reefs were missing, too, replaced by a murky gray. Disheartened, she considered giving up. Maybe there really was no place in the ocean for a mermaid who didn't like water. Then suddenly, the water shimmered ahead, revealing a cluster of islands bathed in sunlight. Excited, Cora swam closer. These must be the Rain Shadow Isles, she thought. Could this be where she belonged? Meanwhile, Finn and the clouds reached the edge of the forest. Before them stretched a wide, dry plain. The sight of the parched land filled Finn with determination. He closed his eyes, raised his arms towards the sky, and started to hum. It was an ancient tune, a melody that called to the rain, a song that only a cloudwalker could sing. As the notes left his lips, the clouds above rumbled. Then, to everyone's delight, raindrops began to fall, fat and heavy, drumming on the dry ground and filling the air with the smell of petrichor. Overjoyed, Finn watched as the parched land drank in the water, the thirsty plants unfurling their leaves and the dry riverbed filling with life. But then the wind shifted, changing the direction of the rain and leaving the rest of the island drenched. Seeing this, Finn frowned. It looked like he'd only managed to make things worse. Dejected, he slumped to the ground. Had he failed? Just then, a small voice broke the silence. "Who are you?" Startled, Finn looked down to see a curious little mermaid sitting on a rock nearby. Her scales shimmered in the water, and her eyes sparkled with wonder. "I'm Cora," she said, realizing that she hadn't introduced herself. "And you?" "Finian," he replied, gesturing to the flooded landscape. "I was trying to stop the rain here, but it seems I only made things worse." Cora looked from the rain-soaked island to the cloudless sky. "Why don't you call for more clouds to block the sun? That way the water won't evaporate so quickly." At first, Finian wasn't sure, but Cora's idea made sense. So he closed his eyes, raised his hands, and began to sing, this time calling for more clouds to gather overhead. This time the melody was different, a song of gathering clouds and steady rain. a lullaby that hushed the winds and calmed the waves. As the new song filled the air, the clouds above responded, forming a thick blanket over the islands and ensuring that the precious water wouldn't go to waste. Relief washed over Finn. It seemed to work. Then Cora had an idea. Why don't we work together? You can keep the rain going and I'll use my magic to draw pictures on the clouds. Pictures that will absorb some of the water and help the plants grow without flooding the land. And so they did. Together, they created shapes that resembled buckets, flowers, and trees, each designed to hold as much water as possible, watering the dry ground without causing floods. It was slow, painstaking work, but as the days passed, the plants began to revive and the river flowed once more, its waters sparkling in the sunlight. As they worked, Cora and Finian learned about each other's worlds. Cora marveled at Finn's connection to the clouds and his ability to control the weather, while Finn was fascinated by Cora's underwater paintings and the wonders of the ocean. They became fast friends, sharing dreams and hopes for the future. However, as the weeks went by, Cora couldn't shake off a growing sadness. As much as she enjoyed working with Finn and helping the people of the Rain Shadow Isles, she missed her home. The vibrant colors of the coral reefs, the playful chatter of the fish, the sound of the waves crashing against her grotto. Most of all, she missed her family. One day, she gathered her courage and told Finn. "I have to return home," she said, her voice trembling. "But I'm so glad I met you, Finn. Thank you for showing me that water can be more than just wet." Finn understood. He knew that the ocean was Cora's home, and no amount of coaxing would change that. But he couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness at the thought of parting ways. Still, he was happy for his friend. As Cora prepared to leave, she turned to Finn and asked, "Can I visit again sometime?" "Of course," Finn replied, smiling. "The clouds will guide you here. Just follow the rainbow." And so Cora left, swimming back to her grotto with a newfound appreciation for the ocean and a heart full of memories. Back in the Coral Kingdom, Cora was greeted with relief and joy. Her family and friends had been worried sick and were overjoyed to have her back. But Cora knew that a part of her would always remain on the Rain Shadow Isles, where a cloud walker sang with the clouds and a mermaid drew pictures in the rain. From that day on, Cora continued to paint the wonders of the ocean, but now her art had a new depth, a new understanding. And whenever the clouds in the distant sky looked a little like a mermaid or a cloud walker, she knew that somewhere, somehow, their paths were still intertwined.